Hey everybody, Jonathan Crow from NinjaOne here, Director of Community, and I have with me a very familiar face if you've been joining recent NinjaOne live streams, including Backups and Bandwidth, which we'll be talking more about at the end of this stream. We've got Adam Walter from Humanize IT. Adam, I see actually you have Adam the Graybeard still from the Backups and
Hey,
Bandwidth.
I just noticed that. I'm going to keep it.
I like it. I like it. So thank you everybody for joining us for this stream. We are going to be talking about less dice rolling this time, although maybe you're never going to rule it out.
I always have my dice available.
Like a true game master. So we're going to be talking about primarily an important date that I'm sure is marked on everyone's calendars, and that's October 14th. As I noted in our Discord, 181 days away. Windows 10 is going to be going end of life, end of support. And so, of course, we've all been through this, before Windows 7 and all these things. Microsoft is going to be offering extended support with security things, but you have to pay for it. And so it's a big date. A lot of folks have, I'm sure, been making plans and migrating and doing all the things. But there's likely, we don't live in the ideal world. We live in the real world. And there's probably a lot of people who are still looking to make plans and moves. And so that's what we're going to be talking primarily today is how can we automate this project of discovering Windows 10 devices? Are they still out there on our networks? And how can we set that up in such a way where we can make migration less painful, and also for the MSPs out there watching, translate this into project revenue, which is a great thing, right? So Adam, why don't you, before we dive into this, tell us a little bit about yourself for those of you, those watching who haven't seen you on one of these before. And then also tell us a little bit why you wanted to do this topic in particular.
Yeah. My name's Adam Walter. For those of you who watch Backups and Bandwidths, I'm a regular nerd on there. I think I almost got slaughtered to zombies in October. Last month we got transported to some kind of backup system where we had to work from on the inside. So to my fellow D&D and Backups and Bandwidths people, hello. I'm going to keep my name at Adam the Graybeard. I've got my own trading card and everything. And the goal here is that I came from a background. I call myself Adam the Graybeard because I'm starting to get gray hairs because of my teenage kids. And I also have started losing my tech knowledge. I used to be an engineer. I was your buck stops here engineer for large corporate environments. Like I was the person you called when everything went terribly wrong. And so over time, I got really good into management. Kept getting promoted, got a lot of training, went and got my MBA. And as a true IT person, I dropped out of my MBA because you can't succeed in this IT world without dropping out of college. And so, but I got a lot of business theory and I started really enjoying the strategy side of IT. And when I started our company, Humanize IT, a couple of years ago, we wanted to make things easier on the engineer so they could spend more time strategizing and less time like combing through logs, combing through tickets, and reselling items. So we brought in Humanize IT to make things easy for account managers to talk to clients, whether you're an engineer account manager, a technical account manager, or you're a sales account manager, whatever your background is, you should just be able to have a great conversation. And we wanted a tool that enabled that in the easiest way possible. And that's where Humanize IT comes from. Oh, and thank you for making me not feel salesy. I'm an engineer at my heart. I love solving problems. And so the reason why we kind of came up with this is like, as a team, we're like working on this new feature in our software. Like, how can we help people out? How can we make things a lot faster and easier? Because, we're all a bunch of script kiddies. Like, hey, if I can build a script, they'll save me 5 minutes. I'll work 3 days on this. That's just the engineer mindset. And so we started building all these rules and thought, hey, what if we could access Ninja directly and start building projects based upon Ninja real-time data? And I think in January, you guys released your compound rules.
That's right. That's right.
And it inspired me to think, well, if people really like compound rules, wait till they see rules that directly flow into cache. Like instead of saying, hey, if asset is old, update, What if you said, if asset is old, replace, and here's the cost? We can do that in our smart rules. We just need to do a Ninja integration. So we partnered with Ninja, did a great API integration, and said, okay, now what can we do with this? And people started asking us, hey, Windows 10's at end of life. Can you build us some smart rules and show us how to do this? I'm like, yeah, sure. I'm like, well, why aren't we doing a webinar on this? So I called Jonathan. Hey, Jonathan, you want to do a webinar on this? Because I got a lot of Ninja users asking us, can you automate Windows 10 discoveries just so I can talk to my clients and say, hey, look, you've got 20 PCs going out of date here in the next 6 months, and it's a bad thing. So here we are. That was my long intro into why this exists. We wanted to make things easy for this project that's happening right now. Yes, our smart rules can do 1,000 other things, but the goal is right now is if you click a button, you can find all your Windows 10 PCs without having to comb through a bunch of logs, without having to comb through some spreadsheets. We've already defined it for you, and we've optimized it for Ninja.
Thank you for that, Adam, and I'm glad you took the time to do that, because I think it shares a little bit of the context, and it also gives some insight into the type of person you are. The reason that we've loved having you on, like we've had you on the Leadership Lab too. You've got this cool background where you've worked in internal IT at some big organizations, and you know the MSP world too. So you know both of these worlds. And yes, you're a problem solver. You see things the way that you reach out and proactively want to engage and tackle on problems is really cool. So yeah, let's bring up what you wanted to show folks, and everybody feel free to drop questions, interrupt us. We'll bring things on screen. Meant to be conversational as always.
Yeah, I love being interrupted. Feel free. I especially love interrupting Jonathan. So anything we can do that's perfect.
Oh, yep. This is true.
And I do have a couple of links I'll be sharing throughout this because this is interactive. You're going to be able to see what we're doing as we do it. And you're going to be able to take this away and say, oh my gosh, I want to be able to do that. I want to be able to give my customers this experience. And knowing that it's not going to cost you any extra time is the bonus. So here's here's a dummy inventory we created or grabbed from somewhere. I don't know. Skip's got his magic things he does. It's probably ChatGPT or something. So we generated a nice inventory that we use. And so we can see here devices throughout a client and what's going on with them. And our big problem is we need to know which ones Windows 10 are, because I need to talk to my client about it. So normally I would take a dump out of my RMM, my PSA, and I would look at this view and I would say, okay, let me filter by OS. And so I've got it here filtered, top to bottom. And I've got Windows 10. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 PCs that need to be replaced. And now I've got to go in and decide, are they upgradable? What's going on? I need to talk to the client about these. Whose PCs are they? And so this I have to do for every single client I have. And as we go through this, so like Josh over there in the things, like we have a filter group based upon the results from the Windows 10 capable script. So there are scripts out there. Like we love scripts. And it goes through and it does things for you. So this is where Ninja matches up with us, right? So you can now do these things, like if it meets the hardware specs that you need. What if it doesn't meet the hardware specs? Now what do you do? So there's a lot of nuance here, but with Ninja, it makes it really easy. If it's not upgradable, pitch to the client. We need to upgrade the hardware here. If it is upgradable, run a compound rule and have it figure itself out. This is why working with Ninja is great. And so I love that. That option there, Josh. I don't know if you're publishing that script somewhere and people can use it. I'm sure everybody's like, oh my gosh, I need that script.
So, yeah, I'm scrambling around in the background too. We've got scripts, basically a few different ones that I'll be sharing. I'm interrupting you now, Adam. So there's we have our of course, if you're a member of the Discord, which everyone should be, and I know a lot of you folks already are. But there's tons of script sharing going there. Look at that. Thank you, Robin. Although, man, we got to update that number. It's not 9,000, it's like 10,500 now. It's insane. But lots of folks are taking time to share scripts there, which is amazing. In addition to that, within Ninja, there is a out-of-box template library. Some folks may not even know where that is. If you go under administration, I'll show you guys a little bit later. But there's, I believe, a Windows 11 readiness script. There's some other ones too. So I'm going to grab those while Adam is presenting.
All right, good.
I am done. Yeah, and then Josh is confirming. Picked out that upgrade, the readiness and upgrade from the library. So I'll grab the links to that. But Adam, I'll stop
Yep.
interrupting you now.
So the goal here is to make this year really easy for your clients. And they're going to want to be able to upgrade to Windows 11 easily. Can they do it? Yes. Can Ninja do it for them? Yes. This is great. What if it can't be upgraded? What if they don't have enough memory? What if they don't meet minimum specs? What if they don't have TPM? Whatever it is that they can't turn on, what if they can't do it? And so once you've run the script for Ninja and got people up to Windows 11, now what? How do you get the stragglers, people that didn't get upgraded for whatever reason? And so as I know, like I remember the the Windows 7 rollout days. So I'm old. I remember going from NT to XP and Windows 2000. There's always reasons why Windows 11 or the next version of Windows does not update. And so what we want to be able to do is we want to find those PCs easily and say, okay, look, this one's too old or this one's out of band. And here are the things that we need to do. It's a special project. And that's where our smart rules come in and pair up with this process so that it is very simple. What we want to do here is we want to show like, okay, here are the 11 PCs that did not get upgraded by a script. They didn't make it into the domain, whatever reason, they are not meeting the specs or are not being reached to upgrade. So now we've got to deal with these. And you're going to go through every one of your clients and look for these. Or you can create rules that dump these out for you. The template library is not real. Let Jonathan hand that.
Adam, if you don't mind, I'm going to pull up. I want to.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Okay, let me just pull this up really quickly. This is also a joke because we have some members who are like, "Man, I've been using Ninja for years and I didn't even know this thing existed," and so now it's a running joke. That's the context there. But let me show you guys. For those of you who are new to Ninja, or maybe you're not new and you just haven't looked here. We need to do better. That's not on you necessarily. That's on us. We got to tell you where to find these things. So if you go to administration, library, automation, you'll see under the template library here. If we just look for Windows 11, then you'll see a few different scripts here. So check for compatibility, the updating. You know, a lot of people don't want this to be happening, so blocking it. And so there you go. That's where you can find those things and you can put them to work for you.
Yep. So this is what we call, David, I was originally a VAX VMS guy in college. So when I got my computer science degree, that's what I learned on. And I came into this whole Windows, like Active Directory forest thing. And I had to learn. But what we want to be able to do here is we want to be able to, whatever is going on with our strategy, is track Windows 10 PCs. Ninja gives us a lot of options. Do you want to block it? Do you just want to say, hey, look, if you're on Windows 10, your PC is probably pretty old anyways. I just want to sell you a new PC or whatever. So this is what we call an operational issue. Upgrading from 10 to 11 is an operations issue. Asking the customer, would they like to buy PCs, is an account management issue. And a lot of tools just focus on the operational item, which is fantastic because it's like 90% of what we do. But what happens when you actually need to talk to your customer about these projects? So when you do project management, we need to come in and say, hey, here are the things we need to talk about. And so instead of going through the spreadsheet, instead of going through all the scripts, you can actually walk into Humanize. And the way Humanize works is that we take those operational items and we distill them down into actionable things and things that the client cares about. So the human elements of this, you know, honestly, your client doesn't really care if it's Windows 10 or 11. In their day-to-day operations, this does not change much for them, other than as of a certain date, they're going to be at higher risk for X, Y, and Z. They might actually have compliance needs where they have to be on Windows 11 so they get updates. You need to have these conversations now. Now, we've got a template that says, here's a Windows 10 to 11 migration, why you want to do this. And what we're going to show you, if you guys make sure you keep that QR code up there, is that for the link I just sent you, Jonathan?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. So that will actually take you to a dashboard for Windows 10 upgrades and what you need to talk to your clients about. So if you guys scan that with your phone, it's going to take you to a live portal of what I'm about to walk you through. And it's going to update
This
as
is
I'm
cool.
doing these smart rules.
This
So
is
this
very
is your
cool.
client experience. The QR code there is your client's experience. So as Windows 10 PCs or Windows 10 projects are coming up, they're going to pop up in the client portal. And so watch this. So what we want to do here is this is bringing data in. I think we've got this set up for Halo and Ninja right now. Why go with anybody else? We want to go with the best here. So we got Halo and Ninja bringing in projects, bringing in assets, giving us data on what's going on, maturity levels across clients, comparing people against themselves. And then we got client activities. What do you need to do next? You'll probably want to put a activity in here called ensure Windows 10 upgrade has occurred. And it goes across all clients. So I can see what do I need to do next with which client. But what we want to focus on today is these smart assessments. And these are brand new. They just got released in September of last year. And they didn't really become awesome until we started working with Ninja. And we're like, oh my gosh, this is a lot better. And so you can see we have a whole bunch of libraries. You can import these from our template. We've already built the NinjaOne rules that I'm going to show you today. You can import them. So if you do a free trial with Humanize, it's already built. All you got to do is sync Ninja and run the rules. But we've got a whole bunch of other ones we've got like for generic items. And you can see, for instance, with end user resources, we had to run into a problem. And I want to give kudos to Jonathan and team for solving this problem for us. This is a standard rule we would have to build generically because we don't know how the RMM agents are scanning and identifying Windows 10. So we went out and found any string that was related to Windows 10 and started building rules around it. And they started getting lengthy because Autotask does one way, ConnectWise does another way, Enable doesn't. I mean, all these different people are doing these weird strings. Some are measuring memory in gigabytes, some are measuring them in bytes. And so we said, you know what? Let's close that down. How easy is it to do with Ninja? So Skip went out and started building rules for Ninja, and they're super simple because for some reason, you guys have decided that standardizing names really helps out people writing scripts. And I appreciate that. So, like, for instance, a Windows Server identification rule that we have here just looks like this. And that's because of, I don't know what magic your engineers are doing, Jonathan, but thank you. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to build a Windows 10 OS query. So I'm going to go ahead and add a new query here. I'm going to make it an OR. Doesn't really matter, but I'm going to find anywhere a OS contains Windows 10. I'm going to go ahead and give it a future state of 100. So if it goes points there, and then I'm going to go ahead and tie it to a project. Don't worry about the points for now. We can explain those later. But I'm going to go ahead and add it to this pre-built template we have that explains why you want to upgrade to Windows 11, just so the client can have this collateral ready to go. So I click Save here, and I have a nice Windows 10 OS query down here. Oops, I put it under Windows. Let me make that up one more level. I'm going to go ahead and make an assessment here. I'm going to call this Windows 10. This will become clear in a second why we do this. All right, put your description in there so that your account managers understand what's going on. So now I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. I'm going to make an OR statement. I'm going to go ahead and say OS contains Windows 10. Why are we doing that particular string? Because I happen to know the format for Windows 10 is this. I'm not going to type it all out. I'm just going to say Windows 10 here because that's what Ninja is picking up. It's not picking up all those other rules, and that's great. I love that. Don't change a thing. Go ahead and add the project here, and I'll go ahead and add in the points. All right. So this has been created. One of the cool things we can do here is if you want to keep adding in things, like you want to say, only show me Windows 10 OSs that have more memory than, or have these particular, like maybe you want to say the warranty's expired. Um, Add in as many rules as you want and qualify these. That's on you. And so once this is done, anybody in your organization can run this rule or query. So now I have my Windows 10 NinjaOne OS like Windows 10 set and ready to go. Now, any salesperson, any person in your organization, hire an intern to go find all these for you now, because all they're going to do is run this particular smart rule. So, how does this look? So we go down to our favorite little guy down here, and we say Acorn Construction. How many Windows 10 PCs do they have up and going? So I'm going to come down here and I click in here, and I've got my Windows 10 EOS here. Now you can do a whole bunch of different templates. Like you can say, hey, let's run a QBR with them. And you can include into the QBR what you're doing. Looks like I got it set up for a different one here. But you're going to be able to like pull in all the data, what's going on. And then you're going to be able to say, okay, here under Windows 10 EOS, show me what projects are coming up. So across the top here, you have their assessments on how they're doing against other customers, how they're comparing on their strategies. What we like to do is put these up here so that even while we're talking Windows 10 EOS, the client always gets to see how they're doing overall. And so they kind of leads into other sales questions. But I've got top tickets over here, like can't turn sound off, network errors, Jim needs a new docking station, uh, poor avatar quality in the bar for IT Quest. Jonathan's obviously messing things up here. And we see that there are no Windows 10 projects. We can see desktop assets. We can see all projects. There's a whole list of things we can do here. And so what we want to be able to show over time is, what does this look like? So if you scan that QR code for Humanize IT demo up top, it's going to give you a live view of this that you can play around with, that you can click in and you can show things. So if I change something around, like, so there's no desktop assets over here, I can go ahead and say, what do we have here? We've got a whole bunch of things. I can show desktops, I can show laptops, I can show additional items, workstations. Windows Desktop is the one that Ninja discovers and what it calls them. So I'm going to go and update that. And then we're going to see all the assets appear in here. So if you refresh your screens on your guys' side, you'll see all those assets in there now. Actually, now I need to save it. All right, now everybody can see the new updates, the new query I built. But how do we find Windows 10 PCs, right? So this is my standard view. My client is looking at this, or I'm in a client meeting and I want to show them things, or I want to prepare for the meeting. And what we're going to have here is I'm going to see here what assets. Let's just make sure that they're imported. Yep, we're syncing live with that in Ninja RMM. If we want to force a sync, we can right here. We can import more. But really, all we want to do is go down to the SMRTs. So you tell your intern, your favorite person who's going to be running these things, hey, I want to run an assessment on Ninja to see how many Windows 10 PCs we have. So there's that Windows OS that we built. There's Windows 10, right? And I'm going to run that. Oh, look, it already found them and attached them to a project. Let's go ahead and create that project. And what's going to do here is it's going to use your information to say, hey, your average PC replacement cost is this. Here is the cost to replace all 11 of these that are coming up. Now you need to go talk to your client about it. So here you can create a proposal. If you want to add on more projects to the proposal, you can. And you can send this to them and get an e-approval. We're not going to do that right now. It's not the point of this demo. But we come back over to the home screen, and we can see that now we have a Windows 10 project in here. And so when you go and talk to your client, it's like, oh, what are we going to do here? Oh, look, here are the PCs that need to be replaced. Let's talk with the client about what's going on. It costs $1,750 on average to replace a PC, give or take Dell or HP's deal this month. And you can create a budget for the client. And you're going to see that this is happening over multiple quarters. but we all know we need to have this done by Q3. So we can actually go ahead and build this out with the client on site and say, okay, when can we get this done? How are we moving forward? And your client can see this live. Now, notice I can't edit this. That's by design. So the client isn't moving things around on you. You can go over to your project roadmap and you can actually add in a ton of granularity now. You're having this conversation automatic. So you come down here and you can see here's all the projects. Here's the migration of the assets. You can add in any information you want here. We've got a nice little table you can export. You can go ahead and push this out. And then you can have other costs like, hey, a migration cost or a site visit cost or whatever, put it in here, or we're going to upgrade you even more. You want to move things around, move them around, add more lines to this and say, hey, look, we're going to do all this in Q1. All this is done. You're now just having the conversation. You went from an inventory at Ninja all the way to project management in less than a few seconds. What if we want to do more conversations? What if we want to find out what else is going on? While I'm talking about Windows 10 with a client, why don't I just run all the rules and see what else is non-standard, what else is out of date at this client? I come over to here, I run all the NinjaOne rules. So that includes best practices, that includes the servers that might be out of date, and I'm going to go ahead and click run. What else is out there? I just click run. It's going to go through, it's going to scan the environment. Okay, we got the Windows 10 PCs. We've got some PCs that are low on RAM. We got some PCs that are low on storage. And we can create all those projects. And we can compare them against each other to see, are there any overlaps? So we can see, are there problem PCs? You now can do this very simply. Or you want to combine all these in, you can make all these one rule called migrate this PC now. But these get put on different projects so the client can say, what do we need to do? So maybe you need to upgrade the RAM first. And if they upgrade the RAM and you get the storage upgraded, now the Windows 11 migration will happen. That script at NinjaOne will kick off and you're done. You can answer whatever question you want. That's the beauty of smart rules pairing with Ninja, is that when we're talking to our clients, we just need to know what we need, where we need to go, what conversation I need to have. And your technical people can create these assessments so that your sales engineers, your TAMs, your account managers can just come in here before QBR and click run. What else do you want to know about this environment? What else do you want to build? Do you want to see like networking events, any architecture events? We have tons and tons of rules available for you to run and see what's going on. And so when you're running your QBR, you can run the full suite. Maybe you've got a standard white space analysis you want to be able to do. Feel free to ask questions. I see everybody mocking Jonathan in the queue here.
Yep, keep it coming.
But do we want to do stuff with Windows? Is my favorite little comment there that you made. And you know what? I'm far enough in my career that you just throw me an OS and I'll be happy. I've been through Ubuntu, I've been through Yellow Dog on an Apple clamshell laptop. And so at this point, it's just another day in the life. And that's one of the reasons why we have the smart rules. Like, okay, maybe the answer here is migrating over to our favorite Linux OS because we're just tired.
Oh man. But no, this is great. And I mean, I think this, let's keep it going here. But I mean, one of the things, everybody watching that I was excited to do this for is, first of all, Adam's great. And also, second of all, like showing the interplay between Ninja and other tools that are in your stack, right? We know we're just one part of it. And you gave a shout out, Adam, to the engineers. And, that extends the API team, especially, definitely have set out to make Ninja, we want to work with everyone. We want to be able to have data pulled in, out, and be able to be used in a very cohesive way with other products, right? Because there's some really cool stuff you can do. So yeah.
I think Ninja I think Skip and Richard are in the Ninja queue here. And the thing was, like, when we started working with the Ninja, we started creating the Ninja rules specifically for Ninja, it was an aha moment. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is way easier than the other RMMs out there. Because they were all over the place. Yeah, they had great detail, but man, now I had to create an OR rule for every single concept out there. The data wasn't clean. It was all over the place, which I guess makes a better case for our rules, because now you don't have to build these things. You just run it, and instead of you finding like the 20 different versions of this software out there. And I think that, me being the lazy guy I am, I really want people to focus on client conversations. I don't want them to focus on 9 hours of scanning inventory and going out and trying to figure out how you're going to talk to the customer about this. And as an engineer, I know the frustration of finding an asset that your scan missed, or that fell through the cracks, and all of a sudden it's this huge problem child. I remember I was working at an enterprise one time, and one of the desktop engineers came up to me and goes, Adam, because remember, I was a buck stop here guy. Adam, I cannot figure out where this goes. And it was an icon on one of the finance desktops. And I was looking at it. I'm going to go, oh no, I know what that is. And where is that? And so it was a DB4 application that was running finance data. And if anybody knows what DB4 is out there, it's ancient. We're talking like 1980s, people. And so I'm like, and they're trying to figure out how to rebuild this desktop, and they can't, because they can't make this icon work. And it turns out it was pointing to a server that was in literally a broom closet, one of those old compact servers with the 4 wheels on it, that it just never responded to any of our scanning agents, and no one ever went to it. And it had just been happily humming along since like 1996 or whatever it was.
Amazing.
We couldn't even move it over to a VM. It was so old. And so we actually had to kick off a big project to figure out how to get this DB4 app to work in, I think we ended up getting it to work in DOSBox or something on a VM server. It was awful.
Damn.
Thanks, Dan. And yes, I will be scheduling my latest CRXM poll.
TMI. I want to call out, I love this comment. I was going to be embarrassed to show this one because it felt a little too self-serving, but the follow-up makes it worth it. So David, thank you for this. David, you're awesome. What a great quote. That makes us feel great that we're doing the right thing. Also, hats off to you all, because you all keep us honest. And this is a great example of it. There's always more work to do, and that's what we're here for.
There is, and it's all about constant improvement, right? And that's the way we're an indie company as well. And so Jonathan and I are big on indie companies. These companies that we are dedicated to supporting the vertical that we're in. We're not prey to a PE firm. We're not prey to these people telling us make more money. We're prey to, how do we make this better? How do we do the right thing for you guys? So I highly recommend making sure that you're supporting independent companies out there, independent vendors, because this it's a hard world to be in. And, we adapt. Just the other day, I was having a conversation with a new member, and they said, oh my gosh, I would love this product if it did this. I'm like, well, actually, that's due out in 6 weeks. Let me bump that feature up for you, and let's make sure it runs the way you want it to run. We can do that as independent companies. And when we're talking about scripts that are improved, or how to clean up something, or a feature that you want, we're very closely knit to the communities. So I just want to give a shout out to all the independent vendors out there. Like, good job. Thank you for making things easy. I can tell when I'm building an API if you're still an independent vendor. I can tell that you're still. And so when we're working with Ninja, I'm like, okay, let's build a Windows 10 smart rule. I'm like, oh, I'm done. Because you listened to the community and for some reason decided that you wanted to clean up and standardize naming protocols versus just saying we scan everything.
Yeah, I mean, there's also I think, yeah, great team, but again, yeah, I mean, listening to the community requests, really rolling out things in beta and getting early feedback. I know that you guys do that too. And then I think there's also the benefit of not having a lot of legacy, being able to be more modern in certain approaches. And so in that regard too, the work is never done, because Ninja's as we're growing and everything, we're working hard not to become the thing that we started up to replace.
Don't be evil.
Well, that, but just also like it's
Wasn't
harder
that
to move
Google's
fast
motto
when
when
you
they
get
first
bigger.
started, though?
What's that?
Was that Google's motto when they first started? Is it still their motto? I don't even remember.
I'm pretty sure there was a hubbub about them officially removing that from their mission at some point.
Figures.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Like what is it should be so uncontroversial, right?
just don't be evil,
Like,
right?
well, but
Now they're
little
totally fine
asterisks,
being evil. It's just it's once you get into a different game, like being able to listen, it's like, okay, how profitable is this thing? Becomes the big push. And so when you see things like Humanize, we see things like Ninja where they are where we are like intuitive. It's like, oh my gosh. Or you see that this is an independent company. You're like, man, if they could just do this one thing, this would be a slam dunk for me. Ask, reach out. If they're an independent company, how do you get Humanize integrated with Ninja? Oh, that's really easy. There's a happy little integrations tab over here. It's a new integration, so it came out in February. So if you're a Humanize customer and you don't know about this, I apologize. Much like Jonathan apologized earlier about the scripting library that does not exist. Just go ahead and add it in here. We're actually getting to the point where our integrations are getting a little unwieldy, so my devs are begging me to redo this screen so that it's a little bit more smooth. We're planning on doing like 60 integrations, so we want to make it so that with account management, you have one pane of glass where it doesn't matter if your engineers decide to move RMMs, they decide to start using a different sales tool, start a different CRM, your pane of glass does not change. That's our goal. That's our dream. We wanted you to focus on conversations rather than have to seek out data all the time. So this is where you put it in. Nice little NinjaOne. And someday Jonathan's going to let me do that cute little smart what do you call it? Unified login.
Oh, yes.
I'm going to keep bugging you on that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's important to anybody else. If anybody wants to get some feedback here, like the unified login where you're done. And so, but that's how you integrate with Ninja, and that will take over your PSA integration so that you're going directly to the source. So that's how you do it. Just to answer your question in there. If you need more help, feel free to reach out to Richard or Skip or coaching. One of the staff members over there will definitely help you get hooked up. But you can see here, like we have information. You want to add more information in? What do you want to? What's contextually relevant to your Windows 10 conversation? Add it in. We've got lots and lots and lots of widgets you can talk to about. We got lots and lots and lots of manual processes. So you can say, hey, I just want to do an onboarding checklist. Use one of our onboarding checklists. I want to do a DR readiness checklist. And it'll just keep popping white space in here. There's multiple ways to get projects. Smart rules are just the laziest and easiest. You should be able to take an intern. They should be able to go in and click smart rules and click sync on all of these. And then your account manager, your VCIO should be able to pop in and say, oh my gosh, we've been missing a lot of Windows 10 PCs. That's a lot of money being left on the table. That's a lot of money you can be talking to your client like, hey, we have done our best to get you up to Windows 11. Just so you know, supply chain is looking really wonky this year. So what we want to be able to do is we're going to offer you an extended warranty on any Windows 10 PC, or we're going to come out and we're going to upgrade your RAM and your hard drive space so that we can get this existing PC up to Windows 11. You're going to be able to pitch these ideas that you're helping the client with. And so my pro tip on Windows 10 migrations is use this as an opportunity to alleviate the fears of your customer around supply chain as well, and help them understand like, hey, by upgrading to Windows 11, you're not going to have to worry about buying PCs this year. We can push that off. We'll even give you an extended warranty as long as you upgrade to 32 gigs of RAM and a 500 gigabyte SSD. And we'll give you an additional warranty for $50 or $100, or we're going to cover you until the economy stabilizes and we know supply chain is going to be cheap. And you can start having these conversations based upon what you want to do. But my pro tip is yes, extended warranty. We've been trying to contact you about that. That's why in our product, we don't do warranty lookups for a reason. We do. No one really cares about warranties unless you got a remote PC office or you've got a really complex environment. you can cover almost all PC and laptop warranties yourself. That's the dirty secret. Dell and IBM or Dell and Lenovo, they just love making money off of you. So anyways, conversation for another day. The concept here is that you should be using this conversation to say, hey, let me help you through this time. Here's what we can do for you. We can take these Windows 10, we can put them to Windows 11. It's going to cost X dollars. You create the project here. So instead of spending $17,000 upgrading all these PCs, what if you just let us for $5,000 go through and upgrade your RAM and hard drive on these 11 PCs so we can get them to Windows 11? Oh, that's much cheaper. Hey, and for another $2,000, we'll even warranty those PCs for another 2 years on your behalf. Now you've helped your client. You've seen that their concerns. They're worried about the computer prices are going to spike over the next year. And you can sell them either project. Like, hey, we can get those PCs upgraded now, so you're steady for the next 5 years, or 7 years, or whatever your cycle is. That's why you focus on end of life, not on warranty. End of life makes money for MSPs. End of warranty makes money for Dell.
Man, I'm interested in the chat here. It seems like a really smart tip. What do you guys think? Is this aligning with things that you're already thinking about? Are you seeing those concerns over supply chain and everything? I mean, man, I don't know. It feels like supply chain's been a concern since
forever.
Yeah, basically. But of course now, yeah, absolutely. There's I don't think anyone can keep it straight what's happening. And so, yeah, curious in the chat if you want to share your experiences all or how you guys are approaching this. Be very curious to know.
And while you guys are discussing that, like, there's a lot of people out there who overpromise and underdeliver. And here's my quick little sales pitch. We are a 30-day free trial. You won't be charged anything. We have multiple onboardings where we will train you how to do this if you want. You can choose up to 4 master classes where we will teach you how to do all this. And because we love Ninja, we actually have a coupon out here where we're going to give you everything for very, very cheap. $250 a month off for an entire year. We want to show you that we do this right. And then over the next year, you're going to see that we listen to you and we implement the things that you're like, oh, could you just do this? Yes. You're going to see that we're doing a lot over this next year. And we want to do it with a community that gives feedback. So grab a free trial here. And at the very least, come in and like run the smart rules. It'll take you less than an hour. This isn't a huge lift. We're not really complicated. You're going to come in, put your integration in for Ninja and Halo or whatever PSA you're running. And you're going to start running your clients and go in and start scanning for Windows 10. And over that 30 days, you'll generate a bunch of revenue. If you don't like how we're doing it, cancel it. It's a month-to-month subscription. Our company doesn't start with K, as Jonathan said earlier. Or somebody said yesterday.
I don't think I said that.
I think somebody yesterday said it at the masterclass I was offering. I know, you're too nice.
But yeah, no, thank you everybody. I put the link in the chat here. We'll see if we can, maybe Robin, we can make a QR code for it too. Very cool offer. Yeah, like it's fun to partner with you guys. I know we have a lot of mutual customers who are seeing, oh yes, here's the code. Like a Ninja.
Yeah, or choose Like a Ninja at checkout.
Okay, cool. Awesome. But yeah, a lot of people are getting good value out of using us both, and it's very cool to see you driving with the integration and everything. Adam, is there anything else that you wanted to show off before? We've got some upcoming things that we're going to be working on together. And cool. Thanks, Robin, for...
What's the minimum commitment period? 0. It is month to month, no matter what you do.
Boop. So we just changed that QR code now.
Skip is one of my lackeys.
Wow.
No, there's a bunch of things that we do like over time, like when you want to discuss things with clients from, hey, you just want to talk with a client about budgeting. I love the fact that we have this thing we call it budgeting for engineers. You don't know P&Ls. You don't care to know P&Ls. You don't care to know massive budgets. So let's just go in here and see what's going on. And if you want to discuss anything with client, go ahead and click on that data point. Oh, look, it's a SharePoint migration. What do you want to do with that? We can talk about it. Our tool makes it so that you don't leave cash on the table, that anybody who's having a conversation doesn't need to spend 5 to 6 hours preparing for the conversation. You pull up the conversation that you want, and then you add it and share it with your client if you want. I've got a ton of them here. And then finally, how many Windows 10 projects are going on out there? Our global screen, this is all your clients in one pane of glass, one window across your PSA, across your RMMs, across your compliance tools, all right here. So you can just see over a cup of coffee, and you can filter by the client size. You can filter by the kind of persona you're looking for, sales, operations, what's going on, and then go and use your favorite tool to solve problems.
Love it.
And we're sexy and cool. And we have unicorns.
Now, I do have to say the shirt. The shirt really is an awesome draw. Like I think I don't think we mentioned this at the top, or I don't know if we've mentioned this on previous streams, but Adam and I met at a I think it was an IT by Design conference. Is when we met in person, and I was wearing a Backups and Bandwidth shirt, and you were like, yes. And then you were showing me your unicorn shirt with the actual interactive thing. You got the app on your phone where it actually moves, like the same thing with your business cards. And we hit it off. Let's see.
Yeah, so I've been actually trying to play around with the idea of having a store so people can order the unicorn shirts. So if you want to see my janky our janky store, so you can order. These are augmented reality shirts.
It's super
and
cool.
The unicorn does all sorts of things, like when you hold your phone up to it. And so we have 2 unicorns, and people are like, "Oh, where do I get those shirts?" I'm like, "See you at the conference." And then eventually I'm like, let me just create a storefront. So now I've got to figure out how Printful and Shopify works. And
you get to, these are fun
so,
products now.
yeah, Chris, the dirty secret of this is that even if you don't use our tools, preparing to talk to a customer should only take, like 15 minutes. When you go and you talk to a customer, you should spend more time learning about them than telling them about yourself. Consider it going on a date. If you go to a date and spend the entire time bragging about yourself, there will not be a second date. And this is why a lot of you don't get invited back into meetings, or your customers dodge your meetings because they don't want to go in and talk to a narcissist. Now, if you go in with the idea that I'm going to learn from the customer what they're doing, what their business is doing, like do a SWOT exercise, or anything where I'm going to learn about what their next year is or the next quarter is, so I can make sure I'm aligning the right business projects. That is the appropriate way to run a client meeting. If they want to know how many tickets are being closed, like I'm guessing maybe 5% of your customers actually want to know how many tickets were closed and what the next FortiGate firewall looks like. Like, dude, it's a very small number. They want to know, how are you going to help them make money tomorrow? Social anxiety, that's why we have whiskey.
I was going to say, I mean, if you're trying to calm that, picking the date thing, analogy probably wasn't the best choice. But the
it's like a D&D session.
Now
you're the
now we're doing
you're the DM. You're trying to tell the story of the people around the table.
It's all about the players, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, that's good advice. And I've always appreciated, again, you coming from that perspective of also being on the other side of the table too, being an IT leader and being pitched and everything. But yeah, Adam has joined us for Leadership Lab sessions. We were just talking leading up to this about having him come on to another one potentially and talk about SWOT analysis. Adam, you're talking about going through a recent masterclass on that, which was a cool format to see.
I led the masterclass on.
You led that. Sorry, yes. To be clear, yes.
Feed the ego.
Yes.
I taught like 40 MSP owners and engineers how to do SWOT. It was fantastic.
That kind of thing, but like just having a framework, I think helps a lot, right?
Well, we discussed in the meeting, like a lot of vendors will try to teach you something that they can sell. Like it's all about getting the MSP to resell my stuff.
Yeah.
And so that's why you don't hear about simple things like
Right.
SWOT or Porter's Five Forces or these little mechanics that you learn in business theory, because it doesn't make me money. And so why would I offer a class
Yeah.
that makes the MSP money? I would have to be a really nice person to teach them how to make money without me.
I mean, there are some other vendors that are doing this well too.
Yes,
I
yes, but
know,
it's not as common.
but it's not as common. You're right. And I mean, this is a thing that I know early on joining Ninja and heading up content, the request for like white label assets and things like that. And I think that's where a lot of vendors kind of start and stop is by, yeah, here's our one sheets that you can give people about why using their product. And like for an RMM, it doesn't even make sense. You know,
Here's how you use a QBR to resell my product.
yeah.
Here's how you use a SWOT exercise to resell my product. And it's usually like Dell, Lenovo, and the big vendors who have lots of money they can just throw into the community. Say, hey, oh, you want to learn QBRs? Here, let me teach you how to do it. And it sells my product. No, the QBR should be all about learning about the customer. It should all be about learning and information gathering. You're an engineer. You got 10,000 solutions. You just need to figure out which ones are going to make them money. You do that, and you will print money this year.
Well, here we go. You're giving me a good cause to bring up a few
That's why
other
things like
things
the
here.
Leadership Lab trademark are really cool, because you can go in and learn this stuff from an agency that's trying to make it better for you without an agenda other than we want to teach MSP leaders how to be better.
Also, you guys, I mean, to this point, you have a ton of content around this.
Oh my gosh. Our podcast.
Yep, I'm dropping a link.
Oh, you're dropping a link to the podcast?
Boom.
Please
So,
like,
yeah.
what am I supposed to say? Please like, subscribe, and leave feedback on my podcast. I can never get it right. We have 235 episodes on how to do better account management, better process, and better leadership discovery. We have some really cool people as hosts on there.
So I put that there's
And Jonathan.
Yeah. And then there's me too. I put the link to YouTube on there, but Spotify and Apple too. It's all available.
Spotify and Apple right there.
Through Humanize IT. Okay, so we've got a couple minutes left. I also want to call out time for my turn self-promotion. That also includes Adam.
Yay.
So check this out. Everybody, if you haven't already, we're going to be doing another episode of Backups and Bandwidth, another session. And Adam is going to be leading this one. Adam has been a player in quite a few of them in the past. This time he is taking the DM mantle and duties, and he is going to be rolling out a scenario that's based around desktop troubleshooting. And so I'm excited for it.
Fun fact, this particular scenario is one that I use as an interview question as people come into my organization. And based upon how you would answer this, determined if you were a network engineer, a server engineer, an architect, or a desktop engineer. There are 4 ways to solve this problem. And so we would use this question. There was an actual scenario that we went through a couple of years before and realized it would make a great interview question. And so during our technical interviews, we would run people through this exact scenario to discover what kind of engineer they were.
This is a lot of pressure. This is like, yeah, determining their destiny.
Yeah. I'm interested to see who you get for my victims.
Oh, yes. Well, I think we're going to have some familiar faces. Tom Lawrence and some others. And so, yeah, everybody check that out. It's going to be on Wednesday, April 30th. No registration required. You can go to the YouTube NinjaOne YouTube channel, go to live. You'll see the option to get notified so you can remember that that's happening. Add it to your calendar. It's also in our Discord too. So, yeah, Chris. But yeah, check that out. That's going to be a lot of fun, and we'll be giving away some prizes and things like that too. So one definitely not to miss. All right, what else we got? We're gonna any last questions or last things you wanted to share, Adam? Anything else that's upcoming? I mean, maybe we finish this one going full circle around back to Windows 10, right? In the end of life. You had some good suggestions about why this is a great opportunity to have these conversations. Maybe if folks have even already had some of these discussions, is there additional things that they can do to make sure this stays on the radar and gets some actual traction? Processing.
Waiting. Like I'm hoping like some other people have questions, but what I'd really like to see is people come out and just give us a try, right? Show up for the trial, and at the very least, get your results and your projects built for Windows 10. And then, if you don't like it, you don't like it.
Yeah.
There's really no risk. We do require a credit card to sign up, but that's to keep out the riffraff. We kept getting all these random incomplete signups, and like, fine, we're putting some kind of paywall into place. You're not going to be charged. But we do a lot of education with every Thursday we have an event where we talk about what should an account manager be working on at this point in the year. We run through the same calendar every year. We publish it on our website. So, we'll be talking about how right now you need to be talking to your school districts. You need to be talking to your government clients about their budget cycles. And so we're just going to be reminding of those things. And then so when you sign up for our product, we do offer 4 master classes. You don't have to do them, but you can include them as part of your onboarding experience. So you can say, hey, look, I'd really like to be able to divide up my customers into different classifications. Sign up for that. We'll actually start teaching you it during the free trial. Hey, I'd really like to know how to run a QBR better. Hey, we've got a great masterclass on that where we'll run you through it, and you'll get to learn that often during the trial period. It all depends on your schedule, but you're going to see that you're not just joining, much like Ninja, you're not just getting a product. You're joining a community of people, like 10,000 people in the Discord. I'm in that Discord. I really miss being in a community, and I love the fact that I kind of lurk a little bit in the Discord. But I used to be one of the top contributors, like one of the top 3 contributors to Spiceworks back in the day, back when they were still cool. And
Spiceworks is still cool for the folks in there. There's some good stuff
when
in there.
I was the engineers. No, I can make fun of them because I love Spiceworks. And the idea is being part of these communities is important. Knowing that the software or the hardware that you're using has a strong community of people who love it, that's the best advocate you can get that this is the product you need to be using.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that the also it gets to the point that the point isn't the tool itself, right? The point of any kind of tool is to actually help you do the work that matters, right? That's getting results and outcomes. And so, Adam, this is great having you on. Really appreciate you getting this integration going, coming on to show it off. And thank you everybody for joining us. We will be back. Let's see. Oh yeah, now you've been outed. You're gonna get pinged on the Discord.
That's okay. Ask questions. I'm on Discord all day long. I leave Warcraft 3 running in the background, so it always says I'm playing Warcraft 3 because I like the ambient sounds of Warcraft 3.
Wow. Fun facts. And once again, we learn about interesting things about ourselves and each other. Thank you all for joining another NinjaOne live stream. We'll be back soon. Next week, I believe we're taking maybe no streams next week, but the following week we'll be back with backups and bandwidth and a few other things as well. So keep an eye out. We have some really fun stuff for me that you'll be seeing. And in the meantime, have a great rest of your day, great rest of your week, and we will talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.